Anson Mount has always carried a certain quiet authority on screen, but reflecting on the final season of Star Trek, Strange New Worlds, there's a new layer to his voice, one shaped by gratitude, closure, and a deep respect for a role that has become one of the defining chapters of his career. As Captain Christopher Pike, Mount stepped into a legacy already rich with history, yet instead of being overshadowed by the past, he leaned into it, crafting a version of Pike who felt both timeless and deeply human. Now, as filming for the final season wraps, he reflects not just on the character, but on the journey that brought him here. It's rare to get a role that evolves alongside you, Mount might say, looking back on the early days of filming. When Star Trek, Strange New Worlds began, the tone was bold but exploratory, much like the Starship Enterprise itself. The cast and crew were still discovering the rhythm of the show, blending episodic storytelling with modern character-driven arcs. For Mount, that meant grounding Pike in a sense of calm leadership, while still allowing moments of vulnerability to shine through. Over time, Pike's awareness of his tragic future, the fate that awaits him in the wider Star Trek canon, became a defining emotional thread. It's a burden Mount has described as both a challenge and a gift. Knowing where he ends up gives every moment more weight, he's noted in past reflections. That inevitability transforms Pike's optimism into something almost heroic in its defiance. Filming the final season of Star Trek, Strange New Worlds brought those themes into sharper focus. Each scene felt like it carried echoes of everything that came before, a subtle awareness that this chapter was closing. Mount describes the atmosphere on set as both celebratory and bittersweet, a space where laughter and farewell coexist. The bond between the cast played a significant role in shaping that experience. Over the course of multiple seasons, they didn't just portray a crew, they became one. For Mount, watching the ensemble grow into their roles mirrored Pike's own development as a captain who trusts his team completely. That trust, built on years of shared work, became the backbone of the final episodes. Mount also reflects on the legacy of Star Trek itself, a franchise that has always been about hope, exploration, and the enduring belief in humanity's potential. Being part of that legacy is something he doesn't take lightly. He often speaks about the responsibility of contributing to a universe that has inspired generations. You're not just telling a story, he once suggested. You're participating in a conversation that started decades ago. As filming concluded, Mount found himself returning to the core of Pike's character, a man who chooses optimism despite knowing the cost. That idea, he explains, feels especially resonant in a final season. Every decision Pike makes becomes more meaningful, every act of leadership more deliberate. Though the end of Star Trek, Strange New Worlds marks the closing of a chapter, Mount sees it as part of a larger continuum. Like all great Star Trek stories, it's less about endings and more about transitions, about what we carry forward. And for Anson Mount, what he carries forward is clear. A deep appreciation for the journey, the people, and the enduring spirit of exploration that defines both Captain Pike and the universe he inhabits.